So recently I went viral on Instagram, and this is the first time that something I've posted has gotten this much attention. I just wanted to make this video and talk about something that I said in the past, not knowing what it would be like to go viral. I think in some ways I was wrong, and in other ways I was right. So if you haven't watched that video that I'm talking about, here it is. Basically, I say that going viral alone will not get you work as a composer. And at that time, obviously, having not gone viral before, I was speaking from my own experience, reaching out to filmmakers regardless of how well my content was doing. And although I do consider myself someone who enjoys making content and is like a creator, I also consider myself a composer. And creating content for me has always been about documenting my journey and making things that are based on what has worked for me or what I found useful. And in the process of doing that, I've, gotten your attention, and I have this little community around me, and I'm really grateful. But I've been doing that for about 5 years, mostly on Instagram. And the platform has changed a lot since I first started, but I had never received as much attention as I did for this particular post. And now that I have experienced it, I've noticed there's some new filmmakers following me, and it's really cool. But no one is, handing me out jobs or like telling me, right off the bat, oh my gosh, I love your music. I would love to work with you. It's still too soon for that. Like, this is the problem with, I think, making these kinds of videos. There is like no timeline. You don't get to see like what someone's business was like before and what it was like after. Especially for composers, like I don't think anyone is really talking about this, so that's why I'm talking about it. But I literally went through my followers, my new followers, after that post hit like 60K, and now it's at like 103. I gained like, I don't know, 400 new followers or something in the span of like 2 days. And a lot of them were just generally creatives. They weren't composers. And I knew about this because I actually asked Unica Tanzel in like a little, I think it's the Composer Diversity Collective. They had a Q&A with her, and I asked her like what were her opportunities like before she went viral or before she reached 10K followers and after. And she described how going viral really allowed her to reach like a general audience, and a lot of them aren't composers. And at that time, I thought like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like somewhere in that general audience, there's going to be a filmmaker. But until it actually happened and I realized like, oh, like 10 new filmmakers are following me, and some of them have production companies. Some of them have worked with Adidas. Like, I didn't really grasp like that is how you reach filmmakers, unless you're making, filmmaker specific content, which I'm not. I think for the longest time, I've asked myself, like, how do you make content that a filmmaker's going to find useful and going to want to, watch, and is going to come up in their algorithm and everything. And I think I had seen it through a very narrow-minded perspective, where I thought like, okay, bringing value to the film, and like how you work with a film composer and like all these things. And yeah, I could make that content. The craziest thing is that I did not make that reel with the intention of it going viral. It was actually a cut down from an old YouTube video. And I say old, like my, I don't know, my last video or the one before that. But I was just talking about money as a composer. And before I made this reel, I thought that I had to preserve, I thought I had to preserve the nuance and like the detail, because I was really afraid of coming off the the wrong way or being misunderstood. And the problem with taking like, something like a YouTube video and cutting it down into like 24 seconds, which is how long my reel was, you lose a lot of that context, right? And knowing that, I avoided doing that for a long time. Like, I've rarely ever cut down my YouTube videos. But something changed when one day I decided I was going to try out this software called Descript. I'm not sponsored by Descript. I heard about it from a YouTuber filmmaker that I follow called Standard Story Company. Basically, this video editor is text-based and it also uses AI. And when you upload a clip, it transcribes the whole video of you talking. And instead of editing in the timeline, looking at waveforms, you actually get to edit the script. So when you say, you can erase those things and it'll cut it and remove it in the video. So I tried it out and I noticed there was this feature called Underlord. It's their AI, and what it does is look at your video, figure out what the most interesting parts are, what is most likely to go viral, and it creates a version 1 edit for you. You can give it a prompt to kind of like guide it, but for the most part, with what I've experienced so far, it's good, but it's also kind of like still very new, I think. And when I decided to do it for my video, the reel, it gave that reel a 5 out of 5 rating for the potential to go viral. So it said it was very likely to go viral. And I was like, really? Okay, sure. No expectations. And I remember right before I uploaded it, I was like, this feels weird. Like, a lot is missing from this video. Like, what if people misunderstand? Or like, I started to second guess myself, but I was like, you know what, whatever. So all I did was upload it and then make sure that in the captions, I gave more context because I was so worried about that. And then when I posted it, I was like, cool. And then later that day, it started to like blow up. It got to 20K very quickly. And then it's only been a couple days and it's now, 103. If you're familiar with creating content, or you have a small business, a lot of people categorize the types of content that a business can post into 3 sections. 1 is discovery, 2 is community, and 3 is sales. This particular reel is obviously discovery. So when I look back and, see what I said, like, oh, going viral won't get you work. That's true. It won't get you work. It's a discovery post, not a sales post. Sales posts and community posts by nature are going to target less people, whereas a discovery post is meant to capture the attention of a wide variety of people. So there's this like funneling effect that I knew in my head, but until like I actually experienced it going viral, I didn't really get it. The people that are discovering me, who are filmmakers from that viral reel, they will now go through my community and my sales type posts. So, and the idea is that as they're getting to know me and, figure out if they like what I do enough to stick around, that eventually they're going to be on a project or they're going to need someone like me. And that is really how this works. I've experienced success with community and sales posts, but not so much with the discovery stuff until my Hans Zimmer video here on YouTube and then this new reel on Instagram. So yeah, I just wanted to document this and let you know that going viral won't get you work, but it is part of the equation and it can help, and it can help bring some new eyes to your work, and they might even be filmmakers. That's a big might, but yeah, probability is higher. Okay, see you next time.